Most people on Medicare believe this. If I don't like my plan later, I'll just switch. That sounds reasonable, but here's the reality. Switching isn't automatic, and in some cases, it's not even possible. It depends on three things: what you have now, where you live, and whether your health has changed. Today, I'm going to explain exactly what happens when you try to switch, especially if you already have a Medicare supplement, because the biggest mistake people make is switching for the wrong reason. If you already have a Medicare plan, a Plan G or Plan N or a high deductible, you can apply to change supplement plans any time of year. But here's the first question. Are you changing strategy or are you reacting to premium? Those are not the same thing. Moving from Plan G to Plan N can be strategic if your health is stable and you're comfortable with your small copays, or if you're willing to accept lower coverage for a lower premium. But if the thought process is, well, this one is $30 cheaper, pause and think that through, because here's what many people don't see coming, but we've seen enough lately. A cheaper plan today can announce a rate increase 2 months from now and end up being more expensive than the one you left. And that's what I call moving out of the frying pan and into the fire. Switching isn't about this year, it's about the next 5 years. And I'm sure you've heard the warning that past performance is not indicative of future results. Well, that is true with your investments as well as with your Medicare supplement premiums. Just because a company hasn't raised rates recently doesn't mean it won't. And just because a plan has recently raised rates doesn't mean it'll do so again next year or later this year. If your research stops at simply an examination of past performance, you may be in for a big surprise. And before you apply, there's another factor most people underestimate. In most states, switching Medigap plans requires medical underwriting. That means the insurance company reviews your health history. If your health has changed since age 65, approval isn't guaranteed. It's not guaranteed even if your health is the same as it was. It depends on what your health was at 65 too. And this is where assumptions cause problems. People cancel their current plan first. Never do that. You only cancel after the new policy is approved. And there is one exception to that rule, and that is if you have a guaranteed issue right to change policies. And in that case, the new Medicare plan was going to require that you cancel the old one. And that I'll cover in a future video. So I've also done a full video explaining Medicare underwriting, the process, what they look for, and how approval works. I encourage you to watch, as I should have that linked above. It's going to be in the show notes below as well as in the first comments. Watch that video before switching. You need to know your approval risk and how talking too much can result in a policy denial. Volunteering unnecessary medical details during underwriting can sometimes create problems that wouldn't otherwise exist. And if you're declined, well, you just stay exactly where you are. But some people say, my state has a birthday rule, so I'm safe. Not always. Certain states allow you to switch Medicare supplement plans around your birthday without underwriting. Now, it sounds simple, but flexibility does not remove your strategy risk. Companies adjust rates, plans close to new enrollment, new pricing blocks are created. So yes, you may be able to switch, but you could switch into a plan that looks cheaper today and rises in price sharply in the next year. Birthday rules remove underwriting risk. They do not remove the need for analysis or the risk of price increases 2 months from now. Even more, the more people in your state that use a birthday rule, the greater the need for all insurance companies to increase their rates to cover their unknown health risks. There's also one technical detail that many people understand. It's a common question, so I want to cover it here. If you switch Medigap plans in the middle of the year any expenses that you've paid towards your Medicare Part B deductible are not reset. That deductible is tracked by Medicare, not by the supplement company. So switching supplement plans does not restart that deductible, and that's important to know. Now, what if you're in Medicare Advantage plans instead? If you're in a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to move to a supplement later, underwriting often becomes even more significant. Unless you qualify for a special enrollment situation, your approval is not guaranteed. And that's why structural decisions about your Medicare at age 65 matter so much. Your Medicare flexibility narrows over time once you're past your initial enrollment period. Plus, outside of a special enrollment, you can only switch from your Medicare Advantage plan during certain months of the year, not any day you want, like a supplement. Switching Medicare plans later is possible, but it's not automatic. Before you move, ask yourself, am I changing my strategy or am I reacting to increased premiums? Because reacting without understanding underwriting and rate trends and long-term structures can create more instability, not less. Now, if this is the kind of Medicare education that helps you think more strategically, subscribe to my channel. The goal isn't to chase the cheapest option. It's to make decisions that you won't regret 5 years from now. And if you're considering switching, watch the underwriting video that I linked previously. Watch that next. It'll be at the end of this video before you make a move. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm Matthew Clausen with Medigap Seminars.